Yeah, welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back to Ironclad RC. Got the Delta Force 35 on the block, I had a 4-day speed run binge with this boat this weekend, trying to best my best, which is 63. I got 62. And then I had a failure with my TFL Stinger. Not really a failure, but the strut barrel actually come on, like, de-loctited, I guess is the best way to say it, and it unscrewed itself onto my drive dog and basically messed up my day. So today I'm going to actually go through and ironclad this TFL strut or Stinger out. I'm going to be showing you guys how to waterproof the Stinger so you don't get water in the boat. A couple little modifications we could do to help with the TFL Stinger so it doesn't leave you guys high and dry at the river. All right, so stick around. Big B here with Ironclad RC. Let's get to it, you guys. Let's get to it. I really like this Stinger. I really like it. It's tunable, fully tunable. You can adjust the strut barrel length. You can adjust the thrust angle up and down. It's really nice. It's really nice. But it has a couple little kinks that we may need to kind of iron out. Now, I've heard people have an issue with this Stinger taking on water. Okay, and I'll show you how I fix that in just a little bit. First, we need to actually work on the strut barrel, get it worked out. It unscrewed itself, all right, and it was like riding on my drive dog right here. So what we need to do, I'm going to take my cable out, and I've got to extract this screw right here because I was trying to tighten down this collar so that my strut barrel wouldn't unscrew itself on location. So we're going to take the shaft out, take the barrel out. I'm using a screw extractor to get the screw out. All right, I'm gonna be putting this rocket motor in here shortly. Actually, probably the next video with this boat, we're gonna throw this in it. I was trying to best my 63 miles an hour before I took this TP motor out. So I'm gonna get this screw extractor on it. You just want to put pressure on there, get it spinning. I got it broke loose now. All right, and we just got to get it out. If you don't have a screw extractor, to get a strip screw out, you could use a T9 star bit on a 2.0 screw head, okay? And a lot of times that will it'll fit tighter than a 2.0 Allen bit, and it'll allow you to get your screw out. You might have to like force it in there, you know, but a star bit will actually work. So we need to replace this screw because it's stripped. Unscrew this barrel real quick. See, I had blue Loctite on it, but it must have just broke loose. I'm going to use red this time. Only thing about using red is you're going to have to heat it up if you ever want to change your positioning. I got some mineral spirits poured in a little container here. I'm going to soak my Stinger base in the mineral spirits and my Stinger barrel in the mineral spirits. Basically, you're just going to soak it in the mineral spirits and clean it out with this little brush right here. All right, so I got the Stinger barrel cleaned out, all right, and the strut barrel cleaned out. All right, so that way when we Loctite these Stinger barrel and base together, it'll get a good contact and won't back out on us again. Had quite a few comments, you know, how I kept water out my boat. Do I have a problem or issue with the TFL Stinger taking water on? Okay, and the answer to that question is no, I have not. And I think the reason I haven't had an issue with water is the fact that I'm using a silicone tube over my stuffing tube, okay? So I just put this silicone tube over my stuffing tube, and then I put my base on, all right? And once I put my strut barrel in, it actually like fits real tight, fits nice and tight and snug, and no water gets in or out. So what I do to waterproof it is I basically use this silicone tube right here, this Offshore Electrics 8mm silicone tube, and this is a 0.187 cable. All right, so I actually have to modify the tube a little bit for it to work with the 0.187. If you're using this Stinger with a 0.150 cable, you won't have to do this little mod that I'm about to show you. But what I do is I'll take my Dremel and I actually Dremel out the inside of this tube on one side so it's not rubbing or fitting too tight on my cable. All right, it's got some resistance on it and we don't want that. So I don't cut the tube to size. I go ahead and open up the hole a little bit, and then I cut it to size. So I'm just going to I'm going to put it on there like so. Alright. Just want to open it up a little bit so that the cable is not rubbing on it. A little bit more. You want a nice tight fit, but not too tight. So yeah, that's probably pretty good right there. I actually cut mine because I run my strut barrel basically all the way screwed in. Alright, so you see I'm screwing it in and it's actually pushing that tube out. Alright, so basically I'm going to cut mine the same size. Alright, it just depends on how long your stuffing tube is and all that. I mean, you could probably get away with a smaller piece and not even have to Dremel out the inside of the hole, to be honest with you. It just depends on how far you got your stinger barrel screwed in. Okay, so I've got mine cut it right here. And this works good with the 1/4 inch stuffing tube. I run a 1/4 inch no liner 0.187 cable. Alright, and you just put it on your stuffing tube like so. Get a nice fit. Might need to cut a little bit off because I cut it a little long. And then you could put your stinger base on. Alright, yeah, see, it's fitting too tight. Alright, it won't even line up the holes. So I'm going to cut a little bit off. I got it cut to size so it's not too small, not too big, that it's actually putting too much pressure on the strut barrel itself. You want to cut it to size, like perfect. You might have to put it on there, test it, put it on there and test it. Your screws should slide in there with no issue. You know, you shouldn't have to put too much pressure on the strut barrel. So I'm going to go ahead and screw these screws in. I've got blue Loctite on them. Get your screw in, just check the fit, make sure there's no pressure. Alright, you see how I put it in there? I could feel it go into that silicone tube, but it's not a lot of pressure on it. Okay, if you have too much pressure on it, it'll create some resistance and heat up your electronics. But the cable should wear out the inside of the tube. You know, if there is too much pressure, it'll actually wear it out in you know, your first run or whatnot. So we got the base in, it's all Loctited. I'm gonna work on this little crimp right here. Okay, one side of it does not have threads and the other side does have threads. So if you're doing this mod, make sure you file the side without threads. Okay, don't file the side with the threads. If you do, you may weaken the connection. So it's kind of hard to tell, but I think this side right here does not have the threads. So I'm going to take this little file that Steve Lane gave me, and I'm going to actually file this inside gap a little bit larger so it crimps onto the stinger barrel a little bit better, because I was actually bottoming out the tab here with it tightened down, and it wouldn't tighten down no more. So I'm actually going to just file out the inside. Really, the top was bottoming out. The bottom looked pretty good. So I'm just going to kind of file it out, maybe you know, 1/1000th of an inch or so. Don't go crazy, you know, just a little bit more so it crimps down on the barrel a little better. So I'm actually going to load it down with some red here. That's probably too much. I don't want this thing backing out, man, because it heated up my electronics big time. I didn't even know it for a whole run. I mean, I did a whole run, and then I brung it in, did a prop change, didn't even notice it. So I'm loading it down with some red Loctite. All right, then you put your barrel in, and you just adjust it according to the length of your cable. I'm gonna bottom out my cable here. Okay, so that's bottomed out on my motor collar. Leave me a little gap right there for error, and it's actually on the inside, it's actually bottomed out on that that silicone sleeve we put in there, the silicone tube. Okay, it's actually butted up against the silicone tube, and I got my little gap for cable flex. All right, and that should do it. Now we can put our collar back on. I really wanted to take that bushing out for you guys, but like I said, I'm really scared to do it because I don't have a replacement right now. I was just going to re-Loctite it at the end of the barrel there. But if it's not broke, you know, the old saying, don't fix it. So now I need to find my stinger angle and everything, because I had to pull this thing apart. Start my whole speed run deal all over again. Alright, so I got this bracket right here loosened up so we can adjust it and get it locked down on this crimp. Okay, so I actually was thinking about upgrading to, using a 2.5 millimeter screw instead of this guy right here, because I've actually been through several of these screws on these TFL stingers. You know, loosen it up, tighten it up, and I hate to put this on there because but it's not going to be in the water, so I don't see why it would. I don't see how it would hurt anything if I actually use this damn 2.5 here. So I need to get one to fit. So yeah, I think I'm going to use this right here. Is actually a 2.5 with a really small head. See how small the head is? So I think I'm going to use that for this stinger back here. I need to cut it down to size. Alright, so I've actually cut my screw down to size. Okay, I changed this pan head screw out to a low profile 2.5 millimeter screw, and you can see how it's I got that extra gap right there. So when I tighten it up, it'll actually cinch down on the tube. Before, it was bottoming out right here where that little gap was. There wasn't no gap, it was bottoming out, letting my screw back out. So now it looks pretty good. Okay, so we can get this adjustment right here set, and then we'll have to find my strut position again once we get out to the water. But I'm just going to kind of tighten this up, get that lock nut back here tightened up so it don't move on us, and tighten down the two screws on each side here. Okay, a couple little modifications for the stinger to basically ironclad it out. You guys see I got a little gap on that little collar right there. I can actually get some more tension on it now. You know, if I need it, I got the red Loctite on there. It shouldn't back out again. I do have a little bit of tension on my cable when I push it in. You can see it's got a little tension on it. I may take this stinger base off. I don't have to take all this off. I just undo these two screws, lift it up, maybe put my Dremel back in that silicone tube, or just take it easy and on my first run until that cable kind of, you know, wears the silicone tube out. Just watch your temps. You know, if you do have a little bit of tension on that cable, you know, with the silicone tube actually touching the cable, just watch your temps on your first run. This video with this boat, we're actually going to put the 4082 Rocket 1900 kV in. I've already got the screws broke loose, so that should be coming up here shortly. But yeah, hopefully this helps you guys out. Helps you ironclad this TFL stinger out. It's a great stinger. Just a couple little things you can do to help ironclad it out. So we'll see you guys next time. Big B with Ironclad RC.